We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Welcome and good evening to our Browns scheduled release show on the Fanatical Elves Network. Good evening, guys. How is everybody?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Good evening.
I think we just lost John.
I think John
we
just froze.
We just all froze. Are we all
We're doing
here?
well. Yeah, we're doing well.
I think we all
We're
came
doing
back.
better than we were just a second ago, but now we're fine.
Now we're fine. Momentary
Okay.
camera.
So this is our Fanatical Elves show, and we're we're anticipating, like you are, Browns fans, of the release here in a few moments. It's about 7:50 Eastern time, and right now we've heard some rumors of some different games that are going on. And this show tonight, we're just gonna kind of go around. This is our wonderful, all of our contributors here on the Fanatical Elves Network. We've got Joel, the left guard. We've got the Village Elliott. We've got Steve Gill down there in Tennessee. And we've got BP up for Pepper Pike. And welcome, guys. How excited are you? Let's start with Steve. How are you down there in Tennessee?
Doing great. Since we didn't have a first-round draft pick, this is kind of like our substitute for it.
Ooh.
Yes.
So, schedule release. We know the who. Now we get to find out the when and where.
You've got some. You've heard some games. We'll come back to you here in just a second. Hi, how are you doing, BP?
Very good. It's good to see you guys, and good evening. And yeah, this is our Super Bowl, the schedule release. But I have heard some rumors as well. Being up here in Cleveland, I hear that we start off with we're hosting the Bengals, and then week 2 we're playing at the Steelers. So that's again, that's rumors that I've heard here locally, but we'll go from there.
Okay. Welcome, Elliot. How are you?
Hi there. Well, I'm kind of depressed. Steve, I would much rather have the first round draft choice. If it's all the same, I think the first round draft choice would be much better.
Same here.
We don't have control over that, however, so I guess we'll have to celebrate the release of the schedule as best as we can. I'm kind of depressed. I think the NFL is really dumb to schedule division games early. What that means is that the teams around the league are going to separate themselves early and try to knock themselves out, knock teams out of contention as quickly as possible, rather than keep them bunched together in contention as long as possible. I think that's what they should do. They didn't ask me, however, as somebody that's mathematically oriented, I could tell them how to keep the races closer, longer, but they didn't ask my opinion. They should have. Thank you.
Welcome, Joel.
Howdy. I want to say I'm depressed too, because instead of taking our Super Bowl, I will take the actual Super Bowl over a schedule release. So I'm going to agree with Elliot. I'd rather have the first round pick and the actual Super Bowl than a schedule release. I heard that we have the 7th easiest schedule in the NFL. I mean, clearly that's before any games are played. I think that becomes a meaningful stat after the season. And I think we've known about the strength of schedule since the last game of the season last year.
Yeah, I liked your take, Joel. I listened to you and Elliot the other day talking about the schedule at the beginning of your show, the what the elf was that.
Mm-hmm.
And you discussed this very point that, I mean, we've known who the 17 teams are for a while now. And, but it's just this whole thing about the schedule, and it's become this big hoorah, behind us on NFL Network and ESPN. So
now we get to schedule our vacations, days we're going to take off work, days we're going to know, okay, I'm calling off work that day. You know, one of the things I have on my bucket list is to visit every AFC North stadium. I've only got the ketchup bottle left. So when we're going to Pittsburgh is a big deal to me. I got to start making hotel arrangements. I got to start everything like as soon as I find out.
Right. How many of you
Me
guys
too.
get like you guys, like I have a calendar, my wife's calendar in the kitchen, but I get it out and I, start marking it all up. Yep.
Yep. This is my schedule for the next 4 months. Can't be home for this time. Thursday night's out this time. Like right there it is.
Yes. Steve, you're
all
hearing,
right.
you want to share, I know we're going to go live here, or we're live now, but they're going to release the schedule here momentarily. But Steve, you had a couple games that you had been hearing about beyond what we've already mentioned, Joel.
Well,
Steve?
Beep.
Yeah.
Right about the first game, second game. Second game, I don't know if it's a Monday nighter or a Sunday nighter. I'm getting one person tell me it's on a Monday nighter at Steelers. Somebody told me it's a Sunday nighter at Steelers. So I'm going to wait on that. Since I'm in Nashville, home of the Titans will play the Browns week 3.
Oh.
So that's in Cleveland.
That game's that's in Cleveland?
Yep. Also been hearing week 6, San Francisco at Cleveland. Week 8, Cleveland at Seattle.
Week 8.
Week 15, Bears at Cleveland. And last game of the season, Browns at Bengals.
And we always finish with the division. Yeah, down in Cincinnati. Didn't we do that last year? Did we finish the season?
They typically
Steelers.
It was against the Steelers.
have
It's
division
always
game at the end
usually
of the
always
season.
it's the Steelers.
Well, the only
And then
time
of
the
course
Bengals
week 17.
Week 17.
Week 17, Jets at Browns. That's a Thursday night.
That just
football.
sounds weird. Thursday
That
night.
is so weird.
Yeah, that's an awful time to play
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Thursday night would be
Yeah.
awful.
That's terrible.
That's got to be like
I-
the first week in January too, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
they said the season goes into January.
Is that a home game or a road game?
Home.
That's a home game.
Well, at least it'll be on grass.
but
I'd
I
hate to
thought
go
that
And
to
it's a
New
New
Thursday
York,
night
man.
game. That
But
late.
what happened with
But-
the Monday night thing? I thought that
Wait.
was something.
To be honest, I think late in the season they don't even have Thursday night games. They have Saturday games.
Right.
So I don't know.
I know. That's why I'm questioning this one as well.
Yeah, I don't.
It
I think they
makes-
shut up
feeding the
Thursday night
rumor.
games.
We're feeding the rumor mill here.
And I've also heard that the Steelers game is going to be either a Sunday night football or Monday night football in week 2 at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a way to start the season. Cincinnati at home and then at Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like it because, like, Elliot was saying, that you're already into the fray, with your division
Right.
rivals. You want to work up to it.
Right.
Like last year, I liked when they started off at Carolina. That was, an easy, we won. We
Sure.
barely won, but at least
And-
it was a.
Barely.
And for those of you who've listened to the What the Elf Was At podcast, I'm
Yes.
the conspiracy theorist who believes the NFL sets up teams to play patsies week 1 and then sets up the patsies to play other patsies in week 2 so that everyone can come out 1-1 after 2 weeks.
Ah.
I believe
good.
that
I like
I
that.
believe that goes on in the NFL, which
I
this
like
throws
that.
a monkey wrench into my whole theory because are we the patsy to the Bengals at 1:00? Is that who we are? I mean,
Well, now the thing about this though with the Bengals is that they've never the Browns have had the Bengals number until last year, and then all of a sudden they won that game, and so now we're never going to beat the Bengals again. And I'm like, what? Why are
Joe
we
Burrow
talking
is
that way?
1-5 versus the Browns.
Yeah.
0-3 in Cleveland.
What's going
No,
on with
I
Joe
don't-
Mixon? Is Joe Mixon on the Bengals still, or what?
I think he's still on that
Yeah.
roster.
Yeah, they didn't
Did you
draft
guys
a
see-
running back.
Did you see my article I wrote for Northeastern Ohio's the running backs that
Yeah.
I offered Benny Snell, the kid from Kendall Drake that played with the Ravens last year, and can't think of the other kid. He played down with the Colts last year, or I'll come back to that. But I think the
I
Browns
also
still
saw an
need to pick
article. They
somebody
had Kareem Hunt, like where Kareem Hunt could end up, and I thought a really good article was Denver. Yeah, that he's a very strong
Denver?
candidate to go to Denver, and that does make sense.
Yeah.
Kareem
Yeah.
Hunt to the Denver Broncos.
Well, if Kareem
I
Hunt
like
is
that.
healthy, any team would benefit from him. The presumption is that he's not healthy, but 140-yard dash would change that assumption.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
We-
why
That's
they run
true.
the 40-yard dash, right? To make sure that you're healthy.
Also, some people think he's washed up or lost a step. That's the main reason
Well,
why the
he's-
Browns are walking away from him.
Well, he's one of those backs that are like a bowling ball. They run into a lot of people, and a lot of people fly off, and those backs wear down. They take hits, they wear down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still
How-
think he's
how-
got tread left. I think he's got talent left in him. I wish the Browns could have worked out a deal with him, but
That would be a
obviously-
running
got
back
2 minutes.
on a third contract, though.
2 minute
Yeah.
2 minute warning
Contract.
here. I just want to give the 2 minute
Unheard
warning.
of.
There's a guy named Daryl Ryder who's I don't know if you heard of him. He's a very good Browns beat reporter for the 92.3 The Fan. I'm gonna pull him up on Twitter to see if he's got any, but he doesn't
Yeah.
have any updates here.
I think Steve, you're like 30 seconds ahead of everybody.
I know.
I just want to know. I just want to know
One
when I'm
lottery
gonna go to-
ticket numbers?
Yeah, yeah. If you can get those to me, yeah, that's great.
I was talking to my son who has a friend in Germany, and he said, "Well, it's 3 a.m. in Germany. They're like 8 hours ahead of us." I was like, "Well, cool. Do they got the schedule out in Germany now?"
Now, I was told that the Brown all the teams got the schedule this morning. That's typically what the NFL teams do, but that they
I
don't
heard
release
yesterday.
yesterday.
I heard
okay.
they got them yesterday.
Yeah, they got to plan hotels and all that traveling and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they need to do that before we fans fill up all the hotels too.
True.
Well, I'm
Okay,
not
well,
going
we're on.
anywhere,
We've got
so-
a following. We've got about 14 people following or watching us live right now.
Yeah.
That's,
All right.
that's a record for us right now. So
yeah, come
let's
on,
keep-
That's
1400.
14 more
entertainment.
people to watch.
Anybody
Let's
wanna
get
do
it
a
up to
dance?
28.
Hey, are we set up to take comments? Like if somebody wants to comment, about
I think they can do the comment.
looking I am?
Yes, on YouTube they can comment. But let me look here.
comment, ask questions, try to figure out how it is that Elliot dated a Bengals cheerleader at one point in his life.
Really?
What?
Wait, did I miss that part of in the previous podcast you guys did with
I'm
the
out in Elliot now.
No, that's a true story.
awesomeness?
Wow.
Let me look here.
Elliot,
Well,
you
The
rock.
woman I married is
I enjoyed that part of your
conversation.
conversation when you talked about the cheerleaders and how they're getting, they're not earning very little when you were talking about, social justice and stuff in your previous podcast.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
that
that's an exploited part of the NFL. I mean that's
Well,
Yeah.
I think that certainly in the past that's unquestionably true. I think there's a trend to
Okay.
higher.
It's out,
pay.
folks. Elliot, we got breaking news here.
Okay, here we go.
You are,
Jeez.
Steve, do you see it?
I don't see.
I'll
it.
just give you the
Looking
first
now.
game. It is Bengals.
What
There
website?
it is.
It's a home game. And I can't, let's see here.
Wow.
Where are you
Monday
seeing
night,
this?
week 2, Brad Steinbeck just posted it for OBR.
Yep, I got it.
Oh,
Oh, bye
my.
week 5. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
geez,
that's not good either.
I don't like that. But first 3 games are just like I said, and Brad said the first 2. I mean, BP said the first 2. Titans week 3. Ravens at Cleveland week 4.
Yeah, that's it. We want to play the whole division in the first 4 weeks. Our
Yeah.
whole
We only
season.
play.
That
Wow,
is so
we only
dumb.
play one. We only play one divisional game. Holy crap! We only play one divisional game after week 11. We only play the Bengals at the very last game of the season. We don't play any other divisional opponents the rest of the way, other than Cincinnati at the end of the year.
So why
Why
don't
did they
somebody
do
just
that?
walk them? Let us somebody walk us through week by week by week.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and announce that. We'll just announce the games here, and then guys, you can chime in. So we open the season week 1 with a home game against the Bengals. Week 2, we go to Pittsburgh to play at Ketchup Stadium on Monday night, or Heinz Stadium.
It's something else
Week-
now.
Acrisure.
Acrisure.
Week 3,
Acrisure, yeah.
week 3, we are on the road to play Tennessee. Week 4, we're on the road to play the
That's a
Baltimore
home
Ravens.
game. That's a home game. Tennessee is a home game.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be looking. And I don't want to give it misinformation here. So,
You want me to do it?
yeah, you go ahead and Steve.
So you already went 1 and 2. Week 3 is Titans at home, Ravens at home, bye week, 49ers at home. Then they hit the road
Yep.
at the Colts week 7,
Yep.
at Seattle week 8, come back week 9, host the Cardinals, week 10 at the Ravens, week 11 host the Steelers, week 12 at Denver, and then week 13 at the Rams. Week 14 home against the Jaguars, week 15 home against the Bears.
Okay.
Week 16. Oh, that one's a Thursday nighter. The Bears is a Thursday night.
Okay.
Then at Texans, week 16.
You
week
were-
17, host the Jets, another Thursday. Week
Again,
18,
you were right.
at Bengals, to be announced. So we got 3 prime times, a Monday and 2 Thursdays.
Well, that's like the Jets, Texans, Bears, Jaguars in a 4-week stretch from week 14 to week 17.
Yep, Jags,
So,
Bears, Texans.
I mean,
Jets,
that would be
Bengals.
the chance if we're behind to start catching up. Right
Now,
there.
interesting. I was wondering what they were going to do with the West Coast trip. So they basically split the West Coast. They've got them.
No, they did
No,
the
back
at
to
Broncos,
back. No.
at Rams.
No, I know. That's what I was
So-
getting to. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
Kevin Stefanski will stay on the West Coast.
Yeah,
no,
that would
I
make
understand.
most
No, that's
sense,
what I
too.
was. No, I was
Yeah.
saying that. I was getting there, Steve. But they go to Seattle in week 8, and then they come back to Denver in 12, and then they follow up and go to the Rams in 13. So they'll, yeah, like you said, they'll go from Denver to Los Angeles probably and just work out
Los
there.
Angeles.
Okay, so that
So we
makes-
get to play the Ravens and the Steelers back to back, week 10 and 11.
So we play every divisional guy. We play all 3 of them before the bye.
We pu-
And the
we
bye, by
play-
the way, the bye that's the earliest we've had a bye since 2014. I did some research the other day for my other article, and we hadn't had a week 4 bye since 2014. We've had one week 5 bye in the past. The byes has been around since 2003, I think, or 2002. So
Well, if you count the preseason games, they've got 4 preseason games. So the bye would come after 4 preseason games and 4 regular season games.
Well, there's essentially a bye after that last preseason game before the first
And
week
they
of the
get
season,
2
though.
mini buys after the Thursday night games. I mean,
Right.
they host the Jags and then the Bears on a 4-day, and then they're at the Texans and come back and host the Jets on a 4-day. Then they get the layoff after the Thursday night game. So they'll have like a mini bye before the last game of the season.
See, I'm
against
still
the
showing
Bengals.
week 15 as to be determined. The
I've
Bears
got
game?
Bears at Browns Thursday night football.
Huh. I'm on the Browns website, and it says to be determined.
Huh.
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the same thing right now.
Yeah, to be
So
determined.
it looks like there's just 2. There's the Thursday night game against the Jets, and early on in the season.
Oh, you're
Monday
right.
night.
To be determined. My fault.
So right now there's just 2 primetime games.
2 prime times.
So that's kind of what I
Which-
was. I actually predicted that in my article I wrote for Dog Pound Daily this morning.
Which means those could be potentially Saturday games.
Well, yes. Now the Steelers, that's going to be open up against the Bengals, and then Monday night at Pittsburgh. Woo.
I don't like that.
Home
Well,
games
think
then
of
against.
it this way. If you can go 4-0 to start the season, we're in the driver's seat. Because once you do that, you're looking at a stretch here where you've got San Francisco, then you're at Indianapolis, then at Seattle, Arizona. You got the whole kind of left coast thing there. Those are some winnable games right there. San Francisco will be interesting to see who they got a quarterback. Indianapolis, you know they're going to have a rookie. Seattle
True.
might present an issue, but they still have Geno Smith, and I'm not a believer. You got Arizona; they've got a new offense, and they may or may not have Kyler Murray. They'll probably will, which will still be to our advantage because he hasn't learned how to run a pro offense yet, and so that'll be struggling for him. So if we can win those first 4 games, we're going to be in the driver's seat. Then you're coming back to Baltimore, Pittsburgh at home. Then you're looking at Denver, L.A., Jacksonville, Chicago, Houston, and the Jets. So you can get past week 11. You know, the rest of those games are winnable. They can be in a situation if they're predicted, they're going to be as where the teams that are going to predict to be. We're going to start hard, run into a stretch of winnable games, and end with a bang there in Cincinnati to see if that actually is a meaningful game.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
they
like-
get the first 4 games. They get the Bengals and the Ravens at home.
True.
So
Well, yeah,
I'm
3
circling-
out, 3 out of the first 4 games are home games, so that helps.
yeah,
I'm circling the Colts game for any of us here in the Fanatical Elves that live in the Dayton, Columbus area.
yeah.
That would be a good away game to attend. We could do a live podcast on location from Indianapolis.
Ooh, we could. I'm not
Steve
gonna say
could come up.
anything.
BP, you could drive over from Cleveland.
Right. Yeah.
I'll do a road trip with you.
That'd be fun.
We should
Now,
definitely.
following-
We should
now, I
definitely
will
all
be.
meet.
And I'm sorry.
If
Go
we
ahead,
come to
BP.
a Browns home game, or even go to a bar and watch it or something. It would be fun.
so
Meet in Columbus halfway, sort of in between everybody.
Yes.
And
So,
watch a
Elliot.
game on a Sunday.
what do you
Yes,
think?
Steve.
What do you think?
Well, I really, as I mentioned, I really think that the NFL is dumb to schedule division games early. I think it's a bad idea.
Was
And I
that
think-
something new, Elliot?
No, I just think that the NFL can't do math. That's what I think.
There's more to making these schedules. I mean, in principle, Elliot, I agree with you. In principle, it would be fun to bunch these up toward the middle and the end of the season when teams have figured it all out and they're getting on a roll. In principle, I think the other issue you're dealing with is some of these teams have stadiums that are used for other things as well. So I'm trying to find one. You got to work around those schedules.
Well, but I mean, they're still going to have home and away games. There are other teams that they play besides division games. So I don't know that.
No,
that
I
makes any
agree with
difference.
Elliot because I think this schedule is very top heavy. You're playing right out the gate. You're playing your rivals right off the bat. I don't love it. I wish we were playing the Bears earlier on. I wish we were playing, the Texans earlier on. You know what I mean? The Jaguars earlier on. Because they're, we're playing boom. You're right out of the gate. You're playing your bitter rivals. So
Has
hopefully
anybody
you get
looked
off
at
to a
the?
good start.
Have we looked at the other schedules and was going to look at the other divisional teams? Are they all in the same?
Yeah, they do it to all the teams, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can just do the math. It's pretty simple to figure out that the division games separate the teams, and the non-divisional games, there's a chance that they stay bunched together a little bit more. You can
Right.
figure it out. It's pretty simple. And I think that's what the NFL should do. But I guess they figure that the division games will attract more early attention, and that will
Sure.
get the fans hooked even if their team loses. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe they know what they're doing. I don't
Is
know.
anybody showing, at least as far as times? Does anybody see a schedule with times? Are they 1 p.m. games, or does anybody see anything different than that?
No, I haven't seen any times yet.
Well,
Okay.
certainly the Thursday games are not going to be 1 p.m. games.
And then obviously the West Coast games, are 4:25 starts, like at
Right.
Seattle,
Yeah,
at the
right.
Rams, at Denver. One thing I want to mention is I thought the Denver game was winnable and the Rams is winnable, but because they're back to back on the road, that's going to be pretty hard to win 2 road games back to back, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Obviously they can do it. They can do it.
I found the Ravens schedule.
Week
Okay.
2
All right.
is
And
the
and
night
it's
game.
typically Ravens crap. Week 1 at Houston or at home versus Houston at 1:00. They're going to beat the crap out of that team 15-0. and then they're at Cincinnati versus Indianapolis, and then at Cleveland. So they got 2 division games on the road in their first 4. Then they're at Pittsburgh in week 5.
When's their bye?
December 3rd, so I'm not sure what exactly that week is.
That's not
a
till,
late.
Late.
That's a late
3rd.
bye.
Man.
I mean, usually,
Late.
like the better
13,
teams get their
week
buys
13.
later in the season. You know, that's
So
how
this
they
goes
dig
into
down.
my conspiracy theory that the NFL is trying to set up the Ravens for success by giving them the patsy to start the season and then getting them all healed up by week 13 so they can make a run for it at the end against the Rams, Jacksonville, San Francisco, Miami, and Pittsburgh.
Well, to further the conspiracy theories, they
Well,
were
that's
showing
funny
the
for the
Jet schedule on NFL Network.
Yes.
Their bye week is week 7, dead in the middle. And my theory is I was wanted to see what the first game was for the Browns to see if one of 2 things. If they were going to still hold a grudge that we signed Deshaun Watson, or they were going to go for the ratings and the money. Guess what? They did both.
Uh-huh.
So the Steelers open at home versus the 49ers, then home against the Browns, then they're at the Raiders, at the Texans, then they've got the Ravens. Again, you've got
When's their bye?
2, they're a week 6 bye.
Okay.
But we're talking about the Steelers. The Steelers aren't really projected to do something this year.
Correct.
No.
No, he's right. The Steelers are
Yeah.
ranked lower than the Browns.
So, I mean, you got the early bye. You've got these easy patsies teams, week 4, week 3. And somehow this Raiders game's a Sunday night game. I don't understand that. Who's going to,
What?
the Steelers at Raiders is a Sunday night football game. That is like brand label. Like this label versus this label, it's going to get an audience.
You know, you look at it though, like the way I'm just eyeballing it here. The Browns have got 1, 2, 3, 4. So of their first 5 games, they get a bye in there as well. They have 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 of their first 5 games are at home. And I mean, granted, they're playing 3 of their division rivals, but some people will say, well, that's pretty lenient. I mean, first 4 of their first 5, including the bye, then it's all hell the rest of the season.
No, but then they play the Colts, which is beatable. The
Yeah.
Seattle is
Like you said,
winnable.
beatable.
Arizona winnable. Now you
This is
got
kinda what
Baltimore on the
Right.
road, but the Browns could get off to a great start. There's no doubt.
Well, that's
If you
that's
can
the
win
key.
3 of your first 4 games, the Browns could really make a run at this. It's just they're loaded at the front, so they're going to come out ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they haven't come out with a blaze of
Well,
glory.
One
In
is
a
a
while.
wild card. You know, I've seen. Week 1 is a wild card. You never know anything can happen in week 1.
True.
You know,
True.
at home where you have
last year,
better chance to win.
Last year, their offense came out blazing. It was their defense that.
And that's what concerns me about the early games is
First
that you've
2
got
games.
you got a new defensive coordinator, and it's going to take them a game or 2 to get everything set up together. I mean,
Right.
just to play the scheme. And you've got the Bengals and the Steelers back to back trying to figure that out. I mean,
Well, I think the good thing is, I mean, like you said, we've already established. I mean, Pittsburgh's not, they're not great. They're going to be coming into it, Yeah, I mean, that's going to be tough, though. I mean, against the division rivals, you're going to,
But-
the spot. Yeah.
The good news is they host the 49ers the first game, right? So it's not their home opener. Browns
Right.
isn't their home opener.
you know,
Yeah.
the
So there'll
Steelers,
be a little-
correct.
A little shine taken off of
Yeah, but they
week
don't-
2 matchup.
They don't
Wait,
have to go to California week 1 either, though. That'd have been better for
Yeah.
us if they had to go to California and then come back and play
One of
Monday
the-
night.
So you're saying
One of their
Pittsburgh
West-
played, so the Steelers play the 49ers in week 1?
Yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
home game for the Steelers.
Oh, okay.
What are their Western road trips?
Well, they're going to the Raiders.
Is that
Yeah.
it?
They're going to the Rams.
Okay. Back to back?
And
And they're going to Seattle.
And they're going to how are
Seattle
those spaced out?
Seattle's week 17, right before they play the Ravens on week 18. So let me come back up here. So the Raiders
they
is
gotta
week
go-
3. Week 3 is the Raiders. This is for Pittsburgh we're talking about.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then week 7 after the bye they're going to LA. And then week 17 they're going to Seattle.
So
they're
they
going to
play
Seattle week
at
17?
Seattle before they come home and play the Ravens.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they
Ooh. Holy
That's
cow.
a December 31st 4:05 start.
wow.
So I don't
Wow.
know if the
New Year's Eve.
that'll be tough for them coming back week 18.
That will be.
Yeah.
I still haven't
Wow,
found the
there's
Bengals
everybody's-
schedule yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot to dissect here, but you look at it, the first 4, the first 5, like we said, and then the last 3 of the last 4 are at home. So again, I should say
No, it's 2 at home and 2 on the road. The last 4, but they host the Bears, at the Texans, host the Jets, at the Bengals.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
I see a lot of rookie quarterbacks in the Browns' future, or young quarterbacks.
Well, that's good.
Will Levis be starting for the Titans in week 3?
Yeah, if you can hit
I
them all
sure
before
hope
week
so.
8, that would be the
Oh,
best.
that's good.
I also see some old quarterbacks towards the end of the season that may not make it. Like
True.
What's his name at the LA Rams? Matthew
Matt
Stafford.
Stafford.
He may
Yeah.
not
Matt
last.
Stafford.
And if
And
he goes
Aaron
down,
Rodgers-
they'll be terrible. And then
Aaron
you got Aaron
Rodgers might
Rodgers
be
in
out.
week 18, week 17.
Yeah.
He may not.
I'm
There's
not
no
buying
guarantees he's
that.
going to make the season.
No, Elliot, you're not buying
Yeah.
that.
I totally agree with BP that the old guys tend to falter as the season goes on, and
Especially on a bad team. Like, let's say the
Yeah.
LA Rams aren't going to be that great.
I agree with you. They're going to wear out as the season goes on, and they'll be starting somebody new. I
We'll be
would
starting
Right.
Brock
All right,
Purdy
so
or somebody.
Josh
I got the
Johnson,
Bengals schedule.
somebody.
I found the
Oh,
Bengals
yeah.
schedule.
Let's
Okay.
So
hear
the
it.
Bengals are at Cleveland week 1, week 2 at home against Baltimore. Week 3 is Monday Night Football versus the Rams. Then they've got at Titans, at Cardinals, home for Seattle, bye week on week 7, at 49ers. Oh no.
Okay.
I just had something come up. I just lost it.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. I'm back. Okay. Which
I know
screens
we're all
is something
having
weird.
technical issues. Yeah, I know.
So Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo, week 9. Then the home for the Houston Texans. Thursday Night Football at Baltimore. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
The following week, week 12, is Pittsburgh at home. Then Monday Night Football at Jacksonville. Home against the Colts, which is kind of like a Colts home game too. They're like right there. Week 15, Minnesota to be determined. Week 16 is a Saturday game against the Steelers at 4:30, and week 17 they've got the Chiefs
Chiefs.
at Kansas
Yeah.
City, and then Cleveland week 18. So they got a rough one.
Bengals' schedule
That's tough.
is markedly tougher than our schedule.
Well, they got the first place schedule.
Yeah, they got
Right.
the first place
And that's
schedule.
why, like sometimes teams like the Browns make them jump when they have the easier schedule. Teams like the Bengals could take a seat backwards with a harder schedule. That's how, every other year, that's why the Browns alternate every year. They're good one year and, bad the next. A lot of it.
Well, they just need to be.
schedule
We
driven.
need to be playing the first place schedule every year. That's what needs to happen.
well,
Yeah, I agree with that.
now I think I mentioned this earlier, but I will be out there in Seattle, October 29th. We will be, my daughter lives out there, Miss Mariah, and boyfriend Matt. So we will be out there. We'll bring a podcast to you. Mariah and Matt used to be part of my podcasting with the Johnny Cleveland show. So we might have to get them on a show when we get out there. but that'll be fun. That'll be
You
good.
think that's John? What's your first opinion on that game? You think that's the Browns will win that game?
Oh, the thing about that is they're on 2 away games. They have the Colts and then at Seattle. So I'll tell you what, if you look at the research of the Seattle games, I mean, they don't go out to Seattle very often. I think I made note of that in the Dog Pound Daily article I wrote this morning, that I think they've only been out there 3 or 4 times over the last 20 years, and they've gotten beaten pretty bad most of those games out there in Seattle, regardless of whoever's playing. It's tough. You're going out there, and the Browns have had good teams in the past when they've gone out there and they've gotten beat 30-10 or things like that. So they did play the last time they played Seattle back here at home. Russell Wilson was here, and
Well, I was at that game. That game,
yeah,
we
they got
lost.
beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was a couple. That was probably.
I mean, I like
2000.
the idea. I mean, you're looking at it's early in the year. Depends on how the Browns are doing at that point. I would say that they have a fair shot at winning out. Seattle's a tough. I'm anxious to go to the game because they've got the good fan base and a great stadium, and so we'll see. At least So I would say I'm going to say yes, but they haven't beaten them in a long time. So just historically, playing Seattle is going to be tough, regardless. Obviously, the Colts game that we're all going to go to, I think we'll just, because we're all going to be there, they're going to win.
If we can find our way around the stadium.
Well,
Yes.
Stadium's a maze.
Oh, really? How come?
Oh, yeah. You have to walk. They built this like round stadium thing, right? So you can walk around like the concourse.
Yeah.
They cut off an entire section of the concourse to build a restaurant. So you have to walk into and around the seats and back up the stairs to get through one side of the concourse.
Really? That's
And then there's
dumb.
some sections that are downstairs, and then you have to go
Indianapolis,
back
people
upstairs.
in Indiana. What's wrong with these people in Indiana? Do they just not have enough time? They just want to do stuff.
It's
make
the
it more-
south of the north.
I have my thoughts on Indiana, but I did get into Indiana University back in the day. I got into their graduate school for education, but I decided to stay in Kansas. I had just moved out to Kansas, and I thought I was going to head back to Indiana, but I stayed in Kansas. So there you go. But I've driven through Indiana a lot, that drive from Kansas to Ohio. Ugh.
So underrated game here is the
Yes.
week 3 preseason game.
Oh, they came out with the preseason already?
Yeah, the preseason schedule looks like you got the Jets right there for the Hall of Fame game. Then
Okay.
the Commanders at home. Week 2 at Philadelphia, and week 3, which is usually the warm up,
Yeah.
at Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. They got play preseason game out in KC.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's that's the warm up. So that'll be interesting. At least for like the first couple drives will be interesting.
Yeah. What's their week 4 game? Do they have? Oh, no, they just have 3 now.
Well, no, they have
No,
4,
they have
but
4.
the Jets are the Jets is the Hall of Fame game.
Okay, I understand. So you're saying the warm up to the so. They
So
don't-
week 3 is generally that
Yes.
game where like the starters come out and they play about a half.
Yes.
That's week 3. So
Okay.
if they're going to do that at week
Nope.
3, that's going to be the Browns at Chiefs. That might be an interesting thing to watch.
They don't
Yeah.
have any more so that's the final game before the regular season.
Correct.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to mention on NFL Network, they're showing the teams with the hardest schedules, and it's mostly the AFC South. So that's the division we're playing. The
Okay.
Texans, the Colts,
That's why
and
they
the
have the-
Titans. So they're going to
Yeah,
get beat up. They're going to get up pretty bad by the AFC North. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's why they have the toughest schedules. They're playing the
Right.
AFC.
So we're going to
North.
our AFC North is going to kind of like feast on the AFC South.
Yeah. Well,
And
one
I
thing I
think
wanted to
we're going to
say
do well
was-
against the NFC West as well. With I think Seattle, the Rams, and Arizona Cardinals are winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 49ers will be a tough game. Even though it's at home, I think the coaching is always excellent with the 49ers.
Yes. Now, the yes, because the 49ers are. I mean, they're always
They're a
up there.
highly touted team.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, I don't know who their starting quarterback's going to be. It could be
Well, that's
Sam Darnold early on, or right.
Right.
Though
Yeah,
Commanders-
Darnold or Brock Purdy or
All right, Elliot, get in
Then you
here.
have the Colts, and it might be Anthony Richardson or it might be Colt McCoy.
Elliot,
Yeah, I was going to go back to Seattle, and I think there's a NFL conspiracy to let Seattle have anybody they wanted in the NFL draft. I think it was ridiculous. You know, they had 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s, thanks to the quarterback trade, and they wound up with Devon Witherspoon at cornerback. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba at number 20 overall, which is totally ridiculous. And everybody's drafting linebackers and running backs before they drafted wide receivers this season. It's completely insane.
Buddy boy.
Proof that the NFL was conspiring to let Seattle have anybody they wanted. They get Derek Hall from Auburn at 37th overall. And what about Zach Charbonnet at UCLA? Of course, we've been through this before, that everybody hates UCLA. You know why? Because they have a quote unquote gadget offense. But if you look at Charbonnet's numbers, my goodness, I mean, he had a 7.0 rush yards per carry. He had 1680 yards from scrimmage. I mean, what do you want? My Lord, he was fantastic.
Be better than Demetric Felton?
Oh, yeah, he might be the next Demetric Felton. You just mark my words.
He's a highly touted UCLA running back / receiver.
Yeah, no, I think this guy is actually a little bit better than Demetric.
He's probably the next Miles Jack.
Definitely. So, yeah, no, I think he might be a little bit better than that. But yeah, no, I think Seattle had a very, very fine draft, and they are going to come up with a few impact players. And they're always really, really good on defense, and that's what you really need to win in the NFL. So I think
Elliot, the anti-Stefanski tweets are flying in. People are already suggesting that the schedule is built to have Stefanski fired by weeks 7 or 8 if the Browns get off to a poor start with Jim Schwartz there. There you go. That's already out there. People are.
It's this terrible play calling that's causing the losing streak that's going to happen.
There's no losing streak.
No,
I do worry though. I mean, you look at
7-0.
the way that this bye is in week 5. I mean, if you go 0-4, I'm just saying. I mean, obviously we want to go 4-0 or 3-1, but we go 1-3 or 0-4 going into that bye. That's going to be a long extra bye.
0-4, we're all going to die. There is no recovery from 0-4. That's not possible.
Yeah,
and the NFL the NFL won't let that happen.
There's a lot of parity.
1-3 is marginally recoverable, but it's unlikely. But
you got to be 2-2 after 4 weeks.
Right.
You got to be 2-2 at least. At least. Mm-hmm.
Well, like BP says, that's what the NFL wants after 4 weeks. Everybody 2-2.
That's what I think they should do. But
that's what Elliot said.
I mean, the Ravens may be early enough in that air raid offense.
When I look at the schedule,
go ahead, BP.
I usually assume that we're going to win the division games at home and lose on the road. We're going to lose at Baltimore, at Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh, and hopefully win. Okay. So split. You're going to split with your division rivals if they're competent. And the Steelers are competent. The Ravens are better than average, and so are the Bengals.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, we're in a very tough division. There's no doubt about it. It could be the toughest division in football. It probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I don't know a tougher division.
The Browns are minus 2.5 point underdogs in game 1 against the Bengals, even though
they're minus 2.5.
That's correct. That's what I just looked up. So even I mean, the Bengals, man, they went to the Super Bowl. That's not a slouch team. They're
heck no, they're
and they're pretty much going to be healthy week 1 too. So it's not like it's the the same team that limped in without Jamar Chase on, Halloween.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
Jamar Chase is just unbelievable, and he was all beat up last season and did not have a good year. Yeah, what are we going to do about Jamar Chase?
We're going to put our corners out there, and we're going to cover them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with Denzel Ward? Is Denzel Ward
Well,
gonna
the good
cover
news is,
receivers
Elliot,
this season, or what's going on?
hopefully the good news is that he's healthy too. Of course, he could pull a hammy in the training camp. So
Well, I don't know what happened to Denzel Ward. He was so good the year before.
He got paid and got lazy.
Is that what it is?
He's on the Joe Hayden route of Brown stardom. You play good
no,
until
I
you
think
get paid,
Joe-
and then you fall
Joe
off a
Hayden-
cliff.
No. Joe Hayden, man, he played hurt. He played well. He was the alternate to the Pro Bowl when he needed surgery.
yes,
And I have no complaints with Joe Hayden, but Denzel
I do.
Ward was he was not he was not. I mean, he was taking huge gambles and losing last season on a regular basis. He was
You just got to blame Joe Woods for some of it.
Well, maybe that's it. But yeah, if he was operating under orders, he was.
If he goes out and takes a gamble and goes off scheme, I'm pretty sure we'll be looking at somebody other than Denzel Ward on the field.
Yeah. I don't think Jim Schwartz is going to let that happen.
Oh, no, he is not going to put up with that.
No.
I couldn't
All right.
understand what happened. That was a total mystery to me.
yeah.
What happened to the kid? Was he doing it?
He'll be
Is that
fine
what
this
he
year.
was supposed to do? Or,
I'm pretty sure he'll be fine this year. I'm putting it out there. He's going to be back to Denzel Ward.
He's going to be going up against Jamar Chase in week 1. Let's see what.
Well, we don't know if he's going to be doing that, but somebody will.
I know that he is.
Somebody will.
We need the
I have faith in
4-3
him.
guy to
He's
go up
played
against
Jamar Chase well in the past, so
Yeah. So, guys,
I'm not worried about it.
if we look at this schedule, and we're going to have our show, some of us are going to be coming back on Saturday, and we're going to break down the schedule a little bit more, analyze a few things.
Everybody freeze.
I'm not sure. Are we all back? I hope to God we're all back. Folks, I'm getting a new laptop, so hopefully the next time we have our podcast Saturday, I have this wonderful new laptop that's got all the bells and whistles on it. And so if we've frozen up at all.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh, my mouth!
hey, I'm
We're-
melting.
Anyway, quickly before we all lose, I thought if you want to give your final thoughts or a record breakdown of where you think we are just instantly right now, just kind of a initial reaction. Two things. I'll go ahead and start with you, BP. I know you've got we're going to get going here, but BP, why don't you go ahead and tell us where you think we are and maybe a record.
No, yeah, the schedule. It's obviously it is fun to see how the games break down. Even a lot of people like say, "Oh, who cares?" We already know who we're playing, but I like to see how it does break down, the pattern of the games, and there's some. It's interesting how it starts off. Like 4 out of the first 5 games are home games, so that bodes well for the Browns. But and I see there's some. It'll be interesting to see how they handle on the road at Seattle, on the road at the Rams, on the road at the Denver Broncos, who might be improved with a better coach and with Russell Wilson in year 2. So I don't think that game is a complete layup. So it's odd how we're playing Aaron Rodgers late in the season, in week 17. But in my opinion, I think I'm being optimistic. I hope Deshaun Watson has a huge bounce back year. Mm-hmm. So I see us going 11-6.
Okay.
Based on the schedule and the way it lays out.
Steve Gill down there in Nashville.
Tough start. but like BP said, first 3 out of the first 4 at home. Next 4, you got one West Coast trip, but then you got a couple. It's 2 at home, 2 on the road. You've got a couple teams that they should beat at Colts and hosting the Cardinals.
Mhm.
Week 10 through 13, 3 road games.
Mm.
Which that'll plus, and that includes that West Coast trip, Broncos and Rams.
Right.
Then end up the season, couple dogs in there. Couple, the Jets game is still a head scratcher to me. A Thursday night football
Right. Isn't that
on week 17. I don't
That's
get
crazy.
that, but I don't usually do wins and losses
yeah.
because that's I consider that bad karma.
Okay.
And I'd like to see what time some of these games are being played. That
Yep.
has a lot to do with how
Yes.
teams will function. But all in all, I would agree it's probably the 7th easiest schedule. We'll see a bunch of guys on AARP, and we'll see a bunch of youngins at quarterback.
Elliot, what are your final thoughts?
My thoughts, number one, is that not to get too upset or too high, depending on what happens on the first game.
Yes.
It's not really that huge one way or the other. Let's wait until we have at least 4 games to make a judgment with, especially because the Bengals are an awesome team. So if the Browns get clobbered on game 1, I'm not going to be terribly shocked. But let's see what happens with 4 games when we have, I think we said 3 of the first 4
Yes.
are
Yes.
at home.
Yep.
Let's wait and see how that works out. Also, I'm already mad at the people who are criticizing the play calling of Kevin Stefanski. I want to hear what plays were poorly called and what would you have called instead? I don't think you can just say, oh, play calling is bad. What plays? And why were they bad? And what should have been called? It was easy to say that, well, if you didn't make the first down, the play call was wrong. But what exactly is going wrong and what do you do to correct it? And don't tell me that you're going to put the offensive coordinator in charge of the offense instead of the head coach, because that's what we did.
Yes.
In the Hugh Jackson era, and that was a stupid plan. We're not going back to the Hugh Jackson era.
You talked about that. I heard that on your podcast. That was a very interesting take. I like that. When Hugh Jackson was here and all that, just craziness.
You're not going to have the guys at the bottom of the chain of command telling the general what to do. You're not going to do that.
The left guard, Joel Cade.
Well, Elliot, I think what they're waiting for is that 4th and 10 draw call. That's what they want. They want to run a draw on 4th and 10 because that makes a lot of sense.
With Sean Kaiser.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. The draw on 4th and 10. I'm actually excited for the schedule. I mean, I don't know. This is just the player in me coming out, the old college guy. I come out here. You can first 4 weeks, you can like put your stamp on the NFL, on the AFC North. You win those games, you have served notice to the AFC North that you are here, and you've served notice to the NFL that you're not going to take a back seat to their idiotic crap because you gave Deshaun Watson a $230 million guaranteed contract.
Right.
So I think this is the chance for the Browns to give the giant middle finger to the entire NFL, and they should take every opportunity to do it. So that's that. And record-wise, I'm excited for 1-0. That's all I care about right now is 1-0. 1-0. You can't win week 2 and week 1. You can't win week 3 and week 1. You can only win week 1 and week 1. So I'm concerned about week 1.
Well, I'm just going to spoil it for everybody. So I already know what's going to happen. And so I'm going to give you my early prediction. I don't feel good about this. Think they're going to lay an egg again. And I'm doing this. So I figure if I do this now, then it'll be the opposite of what's really going to happen. And so then we'll have a great season.
Psychology. Oh,
right.
I see what
so
you're
I'm
doing
thinking
here.
maybe 6 or 7 wins this year based on just an overview total, like looking at 6, maybe 7 and 10 as an overall record. considering that we've done that the last 2 years, we're going to do better than that. But I'm just going to stick with that. And since I know everything, that's what's going to happen.
You've heard
No,
it
I
here
think it's
from the omniscient John.
Joel. I think the thing that really scares me about I think this is with Browns fans, and I agree with you, Joel. Like week 1, I mean, we just want to go 1-0, and I think the Browns have had such a damn hard time for decades. You know, they can't win that week 1, and now it's back at home. It's against the Bengals. It's against their rival. It's against Joe Schmo. You know, there's going to be some pressure again, and then you get all the boo birds out there that don't like Stefanski. So it's going to be an interesting feel in that first game. And like Elliot said, it's not, it's week 1, so I mean anything could happen. Like we all agree with that. So I just know more times than not we've always lose the home opener. So I'm trying not to be that guy, but I'm that guy. So
You know what? Look, trauma can be healed. Winning heals trauma. So just have some faith. It's all right. It's a new season.
that's right. That's right.
New season.
We got so many things to look forward to, and so we're going to be coming back on Saturday, and we're going to break down these games and some of the groupings and some of the different teams and players and coaches, and get analysis even more in depth from these guys that come back. We've got Joel again, the left guard. We've got Elliot up there. We've got Steve Gill, and we've got BP from Pepper Pike. We got a great crew here on the Fanatical Elves Network, part of Fans First Sports Network, and we're growing our brand. We really appreciate you guys coming along and following our show, spreading the news. Follow our podcast. We've got a great group. I've mentioned this other times, but with these guys all here, I want to again give them a shout out. Joel does his What the Elf Was That show, and he's got that going. It's awesome stuff. And then he and his partner there, or his partner in crime there, Elliot, he is the scientist. They have the football philosophy and rocket science. So there's some great takes that they've had. We've got our Johnny Cleveland podcast that I host, and BP and Steve have also been part of that. And I know we've got some more shows coming on. Steve Gill down there in Nashville is going to be, he has his own or blog that he does called Dog Pound South, and he's going to be kind of coming from that angle. We also have our contributor Rod Bloom out there in Dayton. He has his Browns Blitz. So these are all great shows that will be coming out again this week. We'll be breaking down the schedule a little bit more, and we'll be coming back on Saturday. So appreciate everybody following along. Thanks, guys, for being here. Go
Thank
Browns.
You. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
And,
I can't wait to see the tweets of all the teams announcing their schedule. I found this really interesting Dog Pound Wrestling on the Cleveland Browns website. I got to check this out. I don't even know what it's about, but it looks like Brownie the Elf is wrestling caricatures.
Oh, they
of
showed
all
it
of our
on
opponents.
NFL Network. They showed some of it on NFL Network.
I got to check that out. Anyway, I'm taking up more time.
First 2 games.
Oh, that's okay. Guys, this is the Fanatical Elves Network. This was our Browns schedule release show. Everybody have a great night, and go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.